Hello, everybody. It's Max with Crypto Talk Now. So glad to be here with you all tonight. And if anything, let's go ahead and first recognize some of the people that are in our comments here at CTN. And let's go ahead and start things off with Larry. He says, let's get this. Thank you so much, Larry. Brittany is here, says happy Tuesday. Thanks for being here, Brittany. We really do appreciate you. And of course, Tim Shea, who always says, hey, glad to have you guys here tonight. We'll just take a brief moment just to kind of wait for a few more people to come in and so on. But for those who are here, I'm just going to go ahead and start some things off by stating that, I still realize a lot of you guys are into like certain meme coins and so on. And shout out to, of course, Common Sense, Todd, Common Sense, not Rich, for instance. Our own CTN's Common Sense, who, he was tweeting, for instance, about the Republic. And of course, I haven't took a deep dive, like as far as done research to find out more about it and so on. But I will state this. I did do the token sniffer report, and it came back perfect score, 100 out of 100. I thought that was really, really cool. And if anything, I think it's to be expected, especially this time that we're in, right? All right, saw a few more people come in. Salamander, the XDC commander, is in the house. He says hello. By the way, guys, recent XDC news update was posted, I think early this morning or late last night. I can't remember. It might have been yesterday. Anyway, there was an update in regards to that. We also have quite a bit of XDC news for you here tonight at CTN. But nonetheless, thank you for being here, Salamander. On top of that, Tim Shea welcoming you. Everybody's saying hello to the one and only Salamander. On top of the Republic, that's Star Wars, right? Yeah. So, if anything, I'm basically going to show you guys a few things here, because why not? So let's go ahead and get right into it. So, as the topic of the thumbnail shows, it is Tuesday Night Lights. And of course, if anything, let me go ahead and get right into just that. What's going on with the red and the green and all that's in between? So as we can see on the overall crypto market cap, we are now at 805.42 billion. Here's something to keep in mind, right? We did see this, of course, drop down to the 700 billion area. And of course, we saw the likes of Bitcoin in the 15,000s. Heck, I even thought Ethereum was going to drop below the support of 1,000. It seemed like there was a lot of course, doom and gloom. Now, in regards to the top 100 on the 1 hour chart, you see Eunice said Leo, is that up 3.70%? I know nothing about that particular one. OKB does show up once in a while, but how about this Quant? 1.52% on that 1 hour, up about 7% on the 24 hour. It's pretty big for Quant, and so on. I'm going to refresh, of course, the 24 hour. Curve Dow is up at 27%. I remember last bull run, Curve Dow did pretty darn well. I know there's at least a small handful of you guys who are into that particular one. Litecoin's making a lot of news as of lately. You do see that up currently 14% up, 20% on the week, even yet with all the nosedive of the overall crypto market, right? Some other ones, the Trust Wallet token, right? Well, it went way up a while back and so on, with some of the tweets basically that CZ made. And of course, let's face it, in all of a direct effect with what happened basically with the whole Sam Bankman-Fried FTX fiasco and so on. People wanted to go to more of a decentralized approach. I saw Classic Crypto. He made that tweet about Terra Luna Classic saying, hey, everything else is in the red. Luna Classic is in the green. That's really, really cool to see that. Helium is having a, is it really that significant of a pump? Sort of. But anyway, those are the few that I definitely want to point out for you guys. On top of that, I'm going to show you, of course, my watch list. And let's see here. There we go. Now, on this particular list, here's what's going on in the 1 hour. Shows Lily Finance. Of course, Cardano smart contract of Sunday swap. It's up about 10.5, 11%. Excuse me. Apologize. I'm kind of having a Jolly Rancher because my throat was kind of getting a little bit dry and so on. I didn't have a chance to get something to drink. But look at some of these other ones on the 1 hour. And then we're going to go back to 24 hour. Doge Chain. I know Mike Cornwell, for instance, into that. It's about 41%. On top of that, Veracity. We covered it before here a couple times. You do see that one is up about 19% on that 24-hour chart. Just some of the other ones. Volt V2 is up 10.5%. Just kind of, looking into the ones that kind of catch my eye. Celsius about 8.5%. USTC. Now we did talk about that particular one. That one was all the way down to, I think it was like, slightly under 2 cents, about 1.7 in that area. Let's face it, if we have another crash again, it could go very well back to that. LCX, I know some of you guys are into that, sitting at about 4 cents. Quant, sitting, of course, what we mentioned before, $1.1044. FTX, of course, FTT, $1.35. Well, there was another one, Cosmos, Atom, right? So I still feel as though that one's a particular buy below $10. There's a few other ones I want to show you. Of course, I'm gonna refresh this, and I'm gonna do like what I consider, what's on sale. Everybody has their own method of doing this. So this one, of course, Cool Cat Crypto introduced this one, SONM, which is a BEP20 token. Definitely seeing that go insanely parabolic, right? I think it was like 2,500% up at one point. On that particular one, it does show that it's taken a slight dip. It is now at about 95 cents roughly. A little bit more. Excuse me. Proof of liquidity. If that one crashed to a penny, I might just buy like, I don't know, 30,000 of the coins, to be honest, because I'll prepare for the bull market on that one. My Chili's is down to 17.73 cents. Ali that we're talking about, that's a decent swing trade, even with crazy markets. Clearpool is down below the IDO, initial Dow offering of 4 cents. It's now at 3.5 cents. Algorand also down about slightly under 24 cents. Some of you guys are into GBEX. Apologize. Hydra, $1.62. I still feel that's an absolute buy, especially if you like staking incentives in a bull market. They do very, very well. $1.62. I still feel as though that one's like almost a steal at this point. I'm into Wink. I will be getting out of Wink as soon as I turn a decent profit in the bull market. I have a close eye on VGX because I've already, it was one of the few that made money on during this bear winter that we're in. XDC still in top 100, and it's slightly below 2.5 cents. I did send out an alert last night about Tonic. This did add a 0 at one point and went to 7 zeros briefly. Of course, came back. We covered V Empire DAO quite often. I saw that Jake Gagan actually, I don't know if he's sponsored by them and so on. I thought that was pretty cool. So shout out to him. And of course, there's some other ones here. Yeah, the other day we saw a decent pump with Singularity Net and so on. All right. Before we kick it into the XRP news that we happen to have for you guys tonight here at CTN, of course, want to go ahead and recognize our community once again. Hopefully a few more people came in. Thank you for joining us tonight at CTN. Brian Dowie is in the house. Sup, Brian? Good to see you. Right back at you, my friend. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Mentioned you, of course, earlier. Cool Cat. Good to see you. On top of that, everybody's welcome each other. Tim Shea says, sell Litecoin. Zach is pushing it. Ooh, okay. Good point. Brian Dowie with the Cool Cat and so on and so forth. Hey, Brian. All right. Yeah, that's a good point. Um, yeah, Zach dumps a lot. Says Tim Shea. All right, Cool Cat Crypto scrambles to sell like double times the set. Oh, that's funny. Selling. All right, Cool Cat Crypto. Did Quincy do that show? I don't see it. I didn't have a chance to be around for that. I was going to catch it on the recorded. You're talking about the one that was basically today. Yeah, at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I did have a chance to see it. Anybody else check out that workshop that happened today and so on with what excuse me, Cool Cat's referring to in regards to XDC. If so, let me know what you guys thought about it and so on. It would be nice to get some feedback from you guys. Brian Dowie, Chili's issuing the bed for sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm still gonna hold on to it then, because I mean, I was hoping that it'd been a perfect case of buy the rumor, sell the news, and so on. And we've seen Chili's do well, but I think some of the FUD that's been happening, of course, with the whole thing of the location being Qatar and the whole issue with the whole LGBTQ thing, is definitely negative. FUD basically. Looks like Algo, Crow, and Chili's didn't get the World Cup bounce they were expecting, according to Mr. Lambo's Crypto Talk. Yeah, looks to be the case. But if anything, I still feel as though that it could be a case of we might see a delayed reaction with this, maybe especially going to the holidays or maybe even after that. And it is a shame. I was really, really hoping for that, especially when it came to Algo and Chili's. Those are the two main reasons why I picked up a bag of both of those within the last couple weeks. All right, Tim Shea, 2-Bit brought it up. I can't visit his streams. Huh. Hi, Mr. Lambos. Hi, Mr. Lambos for sure. Tim and Brian, everybody's getting love tonight. That's good. Brian Alley, too much drama in this World Cup. Yeah, that's what sucks sometimes. It's just like, can we just enjoy the events and not have a bunch of FUD or the political stuff on top of it? I guess we can't. All right, you guys getting the algorithm going? Thank you so much for doing that. Selma FUD is in the house. Saw some of the recent pictures you posted. Thank you for doing that. Looks really, really good. You have a lot to be proud about, obviously. But thank you, of course, for joining us here tonight. Selmo, it says Crypto Talk now with his trade. You got to get that trademark, my friend. Trademark on this right here. Wayne Side says, sup, guys. Thanks for joining us, Wayne. Consider changing your avatar to something that speaks more about who you are and what you're all about. I'd like to, of course, welcome you here to CTN, and if anything, feel like you can ask any questions, and of course, whether you're new or been in crypto for a long time, we have a very welcoming community. Let's go ahead and welcome Wayne Side, everybody. Just waiting for a few more people to filter in. We got close to 20. That's not too shabby. Tim Shea, Qatar is under fire for treatment of humans. Might have something to do with those tokens. Yeah, that's true as well. Of course, I was mentioning the whole thing with the LGBTQ thing, and not that I have anything personally against them, but let's face it, a lot of times there's that aspect of the FUD, and then of course the area of where we're at as far as that goes. But I also look at things in the past, for instance, with former Winter Olympics, right? You had Sochi, right, which technically was in Russia and so on, As back even during those times, there's a little bit of FUD that happens. So it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Tim Shea says, "Hey Selmo, hey Wayne." Everybody's saying hello to each other. Telepresence lead. Now they are saying that the government is behind the FTX issue. When you look at the whole thing with the SEC, Gary Gensler and so on, I wouldn't doubt it. Apologize, I had to clear my throat right there. Selma FUD, Cardano is launching a stable coin DJet. I did not hear about that. That's very interesting. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Selmo. I'll have to look into that since I have about 4K invested into Cardano. Very, very long-term hold, overpaid for it, but part of my crypto journey, right? Of course, I had some good hits last year, but there's also ones I didn't have exactly some great hits with. Cool Cat Crypto, classic buy the rumor, sell the news with World Cup cryptos. Yeah, but you know what? I did well, for instance, with Zilliqa. So Zilliqa was a perfect case of buy the rumor, sell the news. A lot of people that were into Zilliqa roughly, I think even at 9 cents at the time before the April Miami event of the mention of Metopolis, that thing pumped all the way up to about 23 cents, and people were in it at 9. Now, of course, Zilliqa's all the way down to like 2.5 cents as we speak, but those, for people who get in early, I think is the key takeaway here. And sometimes the buy the rumor, sell the news thing do work, and a lot of times, of course, as you guys know, it doesn't. Is that a good thing? Let's see here. Some of you down with XRP. Daniel Gayton says hello to me. Good to see you, Daniel. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I did see, of course, a brief thing last week when you were on with Larry. I did a very good job with that. Thank you, of course, for coming on here and joining us, and especially joining us here tonight, Daniel. Tim Shea saying hello, of course, to Daniel. Let's see here. All right. Oh, Cardano, you believe that it has potentially, definitely not FTT. Yeah. All right. How this? Mr. Lambo states, how much more of a fall do you think we got to go, and what time frame? I think, if anything, there's a lot to show enough evidence that we could go down to 11K, like Richard Hart was basically talking about before. As far as how long that's going to be, I'm thinking now until the beginning of next year. I think I'm hoping by March and so on that that will taper down, and then we'll see the market take off in a different direction based on some of these 4-year cycles. Now, of course, things could happen. Something crazy could happen in the world and so on, where it just gets extended and whatnot. But that's just the way I'm personally looking at it, especially when I'm looking at some of these charts and so on. That time frame might be a good thing also. And another thing I was going to show you guys here in a moment after we get through some of the rest of these comments. The whole thing Larry's mentioned with February, there's this thing in regards to February with XRP. I know it sounds nuts, so I'm going to kind of ride with that, if you will. All right, Brian Dowie, definitely think FTX BS was taken down for a reason. Also believe it was political. Could very well be. I don't think that would be anything like a conspiracy at all. I'm kind of like with you on that, to be honest. I do think a lot of it was very, very political. All right, Brian Dowie, hopefully now we get the regulations we need. Yes, very much so. Hope that we can get that. Again, here at CTM, we try not to make things, too political, try to have a neutral stance on things. But, the whole thing with, you cannot bat an eye when it comes, or like just be dismissive, if you will, with the whole thing of Sam Bankman-Fried and the $400 million to the Democratic Party. That's crazy. But yes, I agree. Hopefully we do get the regulations that we need. Michael Montclair is in the house. Good to have you here tonight, Michael. John G, welcome back. Good to see you. He says XRP SEC will be settled near the 2-year anniversary in December. Be patient. Fireworks in April 2023. Man, I so hope so. That's why I'm stating where like I basically mentioned, the whole thing for my outlook is roughly March to April, with crypto looking a lot better and so on. And if anything, maybe the start of the momentum shifting would be February. That's why I'm kind of hopping on that bandwagon with what Larry was saying. I know, it's just a prediction that he had and so on, but I'm like, literally, like I was telling months ago, let's just go with that, because if anything, he might be very well right with it being the start. So Michael Montclair got a bag of Harmony 3,000. Okay, cool. So at that particular price level, that happens to make sense. Let's just take a moment to share that since we're on that particular topic. I'm just going to type in 1, which is a ticker symbol for Harmony. And if anything, it's a slight increase up. But at these price levels for Harmony, what is that, like 0.3 above, or not even 0.3, but slightly, it keeps going up, of course, but slightly above a penny. So close to a penny and a half for Harmony's 1. And let's face it, guys, all-time highs for this particular one. I get it. There's all the talks about, the hacks, and there's some more recent hacks which suck. But the beginning of 2022, this was as high as 35 cents. And then, of course, we saw it drop down April 2022 to 16. me see. And they didn't really have a real, big bull run, I should say, towards the end of 2022's bull market. But nonetheless, at the very beginning of 2022, pretty impressive to see it at 35 cents. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to go up to new all-time highs. It can even hit half all-time highs at a penny. Was a penny 4? That's not too bad, depending on how much you hold. All right, a little bit more. Get into some of the comments. Yes, by all means, welcome back, John. You said hello to everyone. Thanks again for joining us here back at CTN, John. I did recently put out another quant video. I'm going to, of course, put out another quant video tonight. Just trying to keep up with it. And by the way, guys, something I definitely want to mention before I read this last comment, and that is, if you haven't done so already, check out, for instance, hold on a second. I just got to get to this section. Check out some of the recorded that we came out with. So I'm just going to show you guys real quick. So I put out 5 videos, basically, I don't know, between last night and this morning. There's Metopolis, an update on Zilliqa's Metopolis. How about this? The new CMC feature. So the new coin market cap feature of proof of reserves. So if you happen to have a CMC account, or maybe even if you don't have an account and they can see that you frequently use it, you might get a prompt that lets you know about this proof of reserves feature. In this particular tutorial video that I did, it will outline how you can view that particular feature. Highly recommend you checking it out because it will show you coin and token allocation from various exchanges. It's kind of nice to actually see the allocation, for instance, for the likes of Binance. The other one I do for the purposes of the video is I have an outline for OKX. I just thought, might as well, because I already knew about the one with crypto.com and so on. Didn't see a particular one for KuCoin on there, but of course we already know about KuCoins. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, and if anything, it's only about like roughly about 6 minutes or so on that. Of course, I did another video on XRP. Of course, was highlighting certain features that we had from the live and just kind of narrowing it down. And basically, like you see right here, it says how ISO 222 will pump XRP. It features coverage from a guy that we show a lot of his content as well, which is Crypto Lulu. So you definitely want to check that out if you haven't done so already. I do a deep dive again into quant. Like it says, quant, the next Bitcoin with utility. And the topic is basically how quant has brought a lot to the table as far as the evolution of Web3 with what quant brings and so on. And of course, this one on the far left over here, XDC, the ETH Killer devs workshop info plus other updates and so on. And we've been getting some really good reception, especially when it comes to quant. In the past, I was wondering about, like, man, it's really hard to get into the whole thing with XRP. Is it saturated, with a lot of content creators covering the likes of Shiba Inu, and that's a very hard thing, of course, to cover because it's so saturated. And then it really gave me encouragement because, if anything, I kind of changed some things on the titles. At the end of the day, you got to follow the success of other content creators and how they go about things and so on. So I thought, I'm gonna give it one more try, and I was very encouraged because, if anything, I did see that we got some subscribers from it, and it was at least 150 views, and I thought, let's do another one. And of course, I did this other one, 241 views. That one got like 5 or 6 subscribers, and so it's encouraging. It tells me, if anything, people appreciate our coverage when it comes to the ISOs, and now it gives us more of a diversified portfolio, if you will, when it comes to our coverage of various different cryptos. But there will be, of course, a lot of emphasis, especially on quant. Come on, 1,100 views on that particular one you see here. But if anything, it's trying to, again, have us be recommended on that algorithm and so on, and provide, of course, you guys with lots of great info and so on. So be on the lookout for that. I will continue to do that. XDC, quant, XRP, Of course, my coverage on Zilliqa's Metopolis, and also, believe it or not, but Clearpool and so on. So I noticed that some people came from over there as well. We do cover Bone, and of course, we will continue to cover Luna Classic when we have worthy news of that. So I just want to update you guys in regards to that. I'm going to kick it back into the comments just here briefly. So I do see a few more came up. Yes, thank you so much for hitting that like button, guys. Selmo Cardano has a huge ecosystem. Check out Cody has a great price point. Yes, Cardano definitely has a nice ecosystem. All right. Cool Cat Crypto. Someone just bought a $23 million mining rig to mine BSV. Really? Wow, that's insane. All right. Pretty pricey mining rig. Yeah, that's crazy. Huh. All right, Brian Dowie, Max, I know you would never recommend selling for a loss, but I'm thinking about trading my chilies for XRP. Well, you got to do what you got to do. And my thing is for chilies, I'm looking at for originally I was looking at for this time to be a swing trade because I have way too many different long-term holds. But if anything, I'm also looking at it from the perspective, yeah, like you mentioned, I don't want to sell it for a loss and so on. But things could happen. We may go into a different type of market. And as the saying goes, you don't lose until you sell for loss. But if you feel as though that is something you've got to do because you see XRP going crazy and that just makes sense to you, then maybe it won't necessarily be a loss. So it depends on market conditions and so on. Of course, we have some XRP news we're going to get into here in just a little bit. Let me see here. John G, thank you. I sold 100K ZIL 4 days ago. I put it in DAI, and I will buy Quant when it goes to 85. No regrets. Right. Again, another example, guys, of what you got to do. John G is a perfect example. He decided that's what he needed to do, and you went with it. Funny, I think some Shiba for XRP. Huh. Well, the way I look at it is these price lows for SHIB is an absolute bargain as well. And you guys know me, I have a decent amount of that. Even Selmo's got even probably, I think, double or triple more than I have. But nonetheless, I do feel as though these price levels, even though the market went slightly up compared to some of these big crashes, come on, guys, 5 zeros, 88, I think it is for SHIB. That's not too shabby. 23 million. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. That person knows something to have spent 23 million. Yeah, you got to know something. XTC, XRP, XLM, Quant, ADA, Luna Classic, HBAR. All right, let's go a little bit further down. 26 million, not 23, even more than what you said. That's something else. All right, so let's go ahead and, if anything, let's get into some of the news I want to bring you guys. But of course, before we start things off, we got to do something fun. And if anything, if you guys have ever watched Epic Rap Battles of History, you know how it goes. Epic Rap Battles of History. Darth Vader versus Hitler, then you understand where I'm coming from with this particular video. Maybe you're already seeing it. Maybe you haven't. Brad Garlinghouse versus Gary the Gopher Gensler in court. Pretty funny. I'm gonna share it, of course, with you guys here in just a moment. Let me bring it up for you guys, and here we go. All right, so it states, despite pristine evidence all over the internet exposing blatant SEC corruption, to say the least, right? The case against XRP remained gridlocked. Many grew fearful. The truth simply no longer mattered, but one man did not. His name was Brad Garlinghouse, and it was time for him to talk his ish. Now, I just want to warn people, there is some language, obviously, in this particular video, so if you happen to have any small children around you, you may want to, use your own discretion. All right, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn up the volume on this so you guys can hear it. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. It really reminds you of YouTube's Epic Rap Battles of History. So here we go, and then we'll be back.
Gary, what the fuck? Homie, I prayed for peace, not for police. I was naive and thought the SEC didn't lie and deceive him. And what the fuck? Billy, we know your bosses, know the agenda that caused this. You gave either a pass and slowed our adoption. Now we done run out of options. Man, this is fucked up. See, the SEC's run by corrupt thugs who say come in and talk, you can trust us. And then use what we say to obstruct us. They pretend to protect and instruct, but when we ask them for guidance, they just bluff. Making statements all vague so the meaning can change and it's easier for them to crush us. Now I say this sincerely. This ain't a conspiracy theory. I hope you hear me. The SEC clearly has conflicts of interest. It's honestly eerie. If we didn't have all of this proof, we'd probably regroup and start a new chapter. Instead, we got him in conflicting in 4K, meeting with Simpson and Thatcher. Gary, why you seem bitter? Is it because when you look at your Twitter, you see the people uniting together to take down a plan that you thought would come quicker? Why you leave us all confused without a single clue and shamelessly sue a Kardashian? I know why. So you reach a dumb audience who doesn't care about what's happening. Gary, you're shady. I'm telling all of my people. You tell them. To be appalled by the evil. See, they have elite connections. They get more protection, and we call that illegal. When I brought up John Deeden, your heart started beating and Jay and Bill shivered. Cause everyone in this picture got richer when that fucking speech was delivered. XRP wasn't issued in a shady ICO promotion. It was in fact created by 3 men who made it before Ripple even fucking opened. Now you say it's a security, but it's code. And we only control 4% of nodes. And the tokens in escrow are sold on a schedule that any fucking body can be shown. Gary, I don't know what you thought. You in denial of the proof that we found. And it's so profound, Gary. I don't know what you want. To get promoted or let us all drown. Don't be such a clown, Gary. Ain't got time for your bullshit. Everybody knows you're corrupted. Ain't got time for your bullshit. Everybody knows what is coming.
So some of you guys seen it, some of you haven't. I thought it was pretty awesome, and of course wanted to share it with you all. A little bit more in regards to our XRP coverage. I'm going to go ahead and share that in a way for you could hear it once again. But if anything, I'm just going to go down a little bit more, a few more comments, I should say. So Brian Dowie says he's thrown in 7 million if you guys want to pitch in for the rest. Okay. So my flood 500 million is pretty good for SHIB. It is. It really is. You know, man, I really wish, of course, crypto talk now. Yeah. Crypto.com, of course, still had a staking, but at the same time, I'm thinking, well, maybe that saved them from not being insolvent. You never know. But yeah, I mean, even yourself, I remember you mentioned something like you had like in the billions, like myself, when it comes to your SHIB holding. And I don't know, I'm just looking for perspective. If they did happen to have that one feature still available for the staking, I mean, I would have like maybe 1 billion, 25 million or 30 million, something like that. I have to do the math. It's been a while, but man, anyway, I gotta stop griping about it. Anyway, all right. Vader would take it off. Yes. I seen that a while back. That one was a long time ago. That must have been like at least 10 or 11 years ago when they made that one. Yeah, I'm at 250 million for SHIB. Nice. Not too bad. I'm done begging. Right on. All right, Brian Dowie, great video, Max. Yeah, I like that one. It totally reminds me of epic rap battles of history. Yeah, you guys love that one too. I mean, even for people who aren't into hip hop, you can still appreciate it. You know what I mean? Michael Montclair says, awesome. Calvin, well done. Hey, Calvin, good to see you. Calvin says, hey, Tim, happy Turkey Week to you and yours. Well, back at you and everybody else, right? So for us, it looks like it's just going to be my dad and I, for instance. We did get an invite to go somewhere else and so on, but we're not going to do the traditional approach. We're going to do, I'm going to do a slow cooker of, pot roast and so on. I got a bunch of ingredients and whatnot, and then I'm going to do some freshly made mashed potatoes and gravy to go with it. It should be a nice thing. All right, Summer Flood, nice intermission. Thank you. Brian Dowie, don't think staking is worth it right now. Don't think any exchange is. Yes, I know. That's a great way of looking at it. It's kind of like double-edged sword. Can't have my cake and eat it too. All right, a little bit more in regards to our XRP coverage, and I'm gonna go ahead and show that to you guys right here, right now. Let me see. Now this comes from and again, don't shoot the messenger here. I know there's a lot of mixed emotions when it comes to BitBoy Crypto, but what he has to say in this particular message in regards to Gary Gensler is spot on. I just, of course, want to share that with you guys here for just a brief moment, and then we'll get into more of some of this coverage that we have for you guys. So he states, "Here you go, Gary Gensler. This won't be the last time you hear this from me. I may even get to tell you in person soon." This is about 46 seconds, but listen to what he has to say about regarding blaming the SEC head of state of, or I should say, the state of what crypto's in. Man, all right, here we go.
Gary Gensler has completely screwed everyone in crypto. Everyone who lost any money in Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi, FTX, you lost it because of Gary Gensler. His lack of creating clarity and regulation in this space is exactly what has led us to all these offshore companies that do not operate in the United States and are not regulated. His willful lack of, dereliction of duty is what's led everybody to this point. We want regulated exchanges, but we can't get regulation. We can't get clarity. You can't do everything by enforcement. And Gary Gensler is the most negligent person in the entire space. And I blame him more than I even blame SPF.
So again, whether you're for BitBoy or not, he does bring up, Ben Armstrong, a very valid, topic or explanation for it. I mean, at the root cause, I mean, you have somebody that's supposed to be having the best interests at heart of the retail investor, Gary Gensler. You represent SEC. That is not happening, and it's obviously continuing to not happen, and so on. Gary Gensler needs to be, resign, and if anything, face jail or prison time. I mean, I think it's as simple as that. Let's see here. Tim Shea says BitBoy is okay, just don't care for Zach or his father. Okay. All right. So how about this? Let's go into a little bit more of our coverage in regards to XRP. Give me just a second. This one made the actual news today on CNBC. About 14 hours actually ago in the morning. But if anything, I definitely wanted to bring it to you guys and bust out the infamous Maximus back scratcher that became an NFT, I guess. Anyway, it comes out once in a while. You know how it goes. All right. And here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that. Yes, Gary Gensler does suck. All right. Let's go ahead and present this. So here it is. And it's this particular one. And like it mentions, this comes, of course, from digital asset investor at Digital Asset Buy. It says Congress at Ripple has been tied up in a fake in which Gary Gensler lawsuit for years now while he was meeting, of course, with Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX. He has also presided over the failure of Luna, Celsius, and Three Arrows. And like what you see here at MF Global, why have you not hauled him in front of you to answer for this? Well, that's a good point. So it says it's clear as day that FTT was a security, and as a security can be and should be regulated, of course, by what? The Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, according to Bob Greenfield. If you have a token that is a claim on profits, that is a security, it is directly in the purview of the SEC's mission. Listen to this. This was basically, I guess, this morning. Yeah, it was November 22nd. And of course, like it says right here, crypto lender Genesis, no immediate plans to file bankruptcy, but you never know in this day and age. Again, this is about 2 minutes or 43 seconds, and then we'll come right back for some more commentary.
The problem with regulation is that there had always been an issue as to whether or not tokens, whether or not Bitcoin, cryptocurrency at large, if they're securities. And because of that ambiguity, no agency really stepped in to say, you know what, it falls under our purview. And yet you are here and you're saying, you know what, it's clear to me. Where do you point the finger at this point?
Well, it's very clear, Melissa. So I, like everybody in our community who was fascinated by the FTX story. So as I'm reading the details, I come to understand FTT. And when I read that FTT had a claim on the profits of FTX, too many acronyms here, when I read that, I said, wow, that's my view of a security. That's clear-cut security. I did some research. It took about a half hour, and you had to go back to 1946 to the Howey case. And the Howey case established 4 criteria for what constitutes a security. And FTT meets perfectly every one of those criteria. So it's clear as day that FTT was a security, and as a security can and should be regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And this mandate is not, off the fairway, Joe. It's right down the center of what they should be doing. They've been criticized by being too expansive in their mission. This is core. They didn't do it, and investors have, lost billions of dollars.
So the SEC should have stepped in on that front. How about the notion of the exchange? There are a lot of crypto platforms out there these days. You ran an exchange. Do you think that there should have been, or there should be, tighter oversight as a platform where you're buying and selling these things, whether they be securities or not?
So one, I want to clarify, when you say exchange in the crypto space, it's different than NASDAQ. So what we have is the concept of DeFi, right? But the crypto world is the opposite. It's the most centralized finance system we have today. So FTX was clearly an exchange. They also were a prime broker, an introducing broker, a clearinghouse, and a custodian, and the regulator. I've never seen anything this centralized. So clearly we need a regulatory structure in place that addresses that, puts the proper checks and balances in place. That's not available today. But what is available today, and it'll be very effective, is regulation of securities. If you have a token that is a claim on profits, that is a security. It's directly in the purview of the SEC's mission, and they should get on with that job.
Yeah, they should get on with that job. Instead, they're too focused on, Ripple's XRP, and it's absolutely ridiculous at this point. All right. Gonna go ahead and read a few more comments before we kick into more of these this particular Ripple XRP coverage. Tim Shea states Gary Gensler is basically loading up on XRP. Brian Dowie, Tim, he's got a ish load, no doubt. Cool Cat Crypto, that means they are about to file any second. Brian Dowie states he has no doubts banks will find out, of course, first and scoop up all the so-called good crypto. Cool Cat Crypto says all exchanges, native tokens are securities, Crow, BNB, etc. Okay, I steer clear from them. All right. Brian Dowie, at some point, if you want ISO tokens, you will be buying it from a bank. That is a very good statement. And who else but the one, the only Boomer effing Sooner. Good to see you. He says, howdy. Good to see you, Boomer. All right. Let's go ahead and kick it into some more of our Ripple XRP news that we happen to have for you here tonight at CTN. Give me just a moment to pull that up. So this one is actually pretty fresh for the most part. And this, of course, comes straight from Ripple. And as you can see right here, it says functional NFTs have the potential to transform industries like real estate by solving challenges with efficiency and transparency of ownership. Now, how many times have people brought up, especially in recent times, and let's face it, even some of my gaming friends bring this up all the time. Why would I want to get an NFT? Why would I want to pay for a JPEG, right? That has no they don't really use the term utility, but if anything, they're getting at just that. And if you think about it, it's like, I guess it makes a point and so on, but there's still lots of value, of course, with NFTs. And as you guys know, NFTs are not exactly my expertise, but I will state this. I like the attitude that you see maybe a new shift in a more positive direction, if you will, when it comes to the concept of NFTs with the likes of Ripple, utility-based NFTs, right? Like it says, solving real-world problems in real estate. In early February this year, Leslie Alessandra sold a home in Gulfport, Florida for, listen to this, $654,310. That sale made real estate history as the first home sold as a utility-based NFT. So I'm going to go, of course, and click on this for you guys to show you a little bit more in that regard. And of course, this is straight from Ripple, and this was posted earlier today. So it says utility-based NFTs solving real-world problems in real estate. And again, we talked about this countless times here at CTN. It's not just with NFTs and so on, but if anything, MATs, mass adoption token, or the tokenization of various different crypto projects, right? Here's another perfect example, and it's nice to see that this comes actually from the likes of Ripple. So when I went further into this, I saw a few key things here. For instance, like that example I brought to you guys' attention, like about that that real estate sale that happened in Gulfport, Florida. Of course, made history as the first home sold as an NFT on a blockchain in the United States. It says the home and other properties that have since been sold as NFTs and paid for in cryptocurrency all herald a sea change coming to the real estate industry. Like other assets that have been tokenized, again, like I was mentioned earlier, as NFTs on the blockchain, art, season tickets for crying out loud, carbon credits, and more, real estate NFTs are gaining traction because they solve real world challenges like process efficiency and transparency of ownership confirmation. And I want to throw this out there as well, because I mean, I've dealt with this myself, especially with the whole thing of, owning real estate and whatnot. So my thing is, to me, it would make sense, right? The whole thing of holding a deed. And if you guys have ever bought property, I'm sure there's quite a few of you guys that have, and so on. I mean, this whole thing of having a deed in your hand, in the form of a PDF, and then like it shows basically previous signatures. Like for instance, there was a lady that bought this home back when it first was on the market back in 1970. And, you see some of the signatures and so on. And I get it from an official use case. But my thing is, to be able to have a deed put in the form of an NFT, if you will, a utility-based NFT for that deed, some of those types of things to me make sense, because if anything, it creates more of that necessary utility. So going down a little bit more further into this, there's this one area that I wanted to bring up to your attention, and that's right here. It says tokenizing a home as NFT confers powerful advantages for both businesses and consumers, including clear digital ownership that is irrefutably and permanently embedded on a blockchain for all to see. And that's again why I wanted to make the example, for instance, like a deed. Imagine being able to have, I guess you could say, that even tied to your phone, showing it, hey, here's my proof, and so on. And I think if anything, you're going to see more and more of this happening. Currently, as we speak, there's even real estate companies that are, for instance, virtual real estate companies, not just a traditional approach of, a Century 21 realtor and so on. You're literally seeing it for these plots of land in various metaverses and so on. And I get, some people may be against the metaverse and don't quite understand the real use cases for it and so on. But these things are popping up left and right. And you're now even seeing it mentioned from the likes of Ripple. Another thing I want to mention is this. It says for real estate agencies and property management companies, an NFT can also be more easily and widely marketed. In the case of Alessandra Gulfport's home, the auction drew nearly 3,000 bidders. I also understand the whole concept of the housing squeeze and so on, and whether or not you take some of these functionalities of utility-based NFTs and so on, there was still going to be that squeeze, if you will. There was a housing shortage, but if anything, it would have made things a lot more easier. I could see the debate here when it comes to having a utility-based NFT, and of course getting, like it mentions here, real estate NFTs that also present intriguing opportunities beyond the traditional one. I think that's the key thing here that I want to share with you guys. Not sticking to the traditional approach. We're in a whole new era, right? Where it goes beyond the traditional one-to-one residential sales. This particular example, and of course, we'll get into a little bit more of our other coverage, but it states basically, for example, the NFT could represent the homeowner's contractual obligation to pay a title or an HOA fee. By the way, I hate HOA. I would never get involved with HOA. To me, it's giving up some of my freedom and so on. But teach his own. Ownership through an NFT could even make for simpler and faster borrowing against a home by sidestepping much of the extensive due diligence and paperwork required by traditional financial institutions for a mortgage or line of credit. And that's just basically one example. For me personally, I've thought about this many times, and I said to myself, it's just a matter of time that you will see, for instance, from the medical side of things. You'll go into your primary care provider and so on, and instead of having to fill out a bunch of paperwork and whatnot, you take this particular aspect of not taking the traditional approach, and if anything, things could be all on a medical blockchain, if you will, and for instance, not have to consistently go in and fill out more and more physical paperwork, right? Things like that simply make sense. Of course, there's this part right here. It says real estate NFTs on the XRP ledger. This is one area I wanted to bring, a little bit more attention to. So it says the world of real estate can be complex, and anyone who has bought, sold, or rented a home knows that it can be extremely tedious process, of course, especially for those of us that aren't well versed in the jargon and other ins and outs of the industry. Now, I used to work not necessarily in the real estate industry for 2 years, but I was a loan officer for 2 years. And I do remember all the, some of these expressions and so on. And I mean, even going into, for instance, escrow and closing and all that, it can be very intimidating. If there's any way we can make things more simplistic and so on, right? By breaking things down with blockchain, I'm all for it. So again, if you want to read more about this, you can. I think it's awesome that the likes of Ripple is involved with these particular things. And of course, it is new, fresh news for you guys. It was just published earlier from Ripple. You can go to ripple.com/insights, and this is a featured news piece from them. It says utility-based NFTs solving real-world problems in real estate. And of course, this is from Team Ripple, published earlier today. I'm going to go ahead and kick it back into the comments here briefly. And let's see here. Next up on the list, and I realize we have a low attendance, but you know what? We have a show that needs to be produced and so on. So nonetheless, I'm glad to whoever's still here and so on. I got a little bit more I want to bring to you guys and so on, and then we'll go from there. Everybody's welcome, Boomer F and Sooner. That's very nice of you guys to do that. Yes, right back at you, Boomer. Salamander wants to puke all over the SEC. Yep, because they deserve it. They are definitely very, very corrupt. I agree. Brian Dowie, how long has JP Morgan been saying crypto is junk? Don't buy it. It's going to zero. Now they have a crypto wallet. Yeah. At the end of the day, somebody, as the saying goes, you can't beat them, join them. I think that's what they're doing. They're opportunists. They recognize that there's still opportunity. And if anything, that makes me that much more bullish. Like we've always pointed out before in the past, a lot of you guys, right? Especially on Twitter, we follow, what's going on with the whales and so on, right? Monitoring whale activity. Well, JP Morgan, that's big, but yeah, I mean, people could call it hypocritical, but I mean, people's hypocrisy has bounds, especially JP Morgan's, when it comes to the opportunity. All right. Calvin states Fidelity is gearing up to transact BTC and ETH. He loves it. Thanks for pointing that out. Brian Dowie, everything goes down a bit more than sometime before March. Everything pumps in his opinion. And on top of that, how many American banks, according to Brian Dowie, states and companies are just waiting for the lawsuit to end? They already have contacts, I should say, ready to go for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. Mr. No Face is in the house. He says, been digging up a few projects that take focus on solution-based NFTs. I think we're half a decade away from decent integration. Good time for study. Yeah, thanks for also pointing that out. A lot of times when it comes to whether it's like solution-based NFTs, like you just basically mentioned, or the case that we just basically showed with real estate, or my other example in medical and so on. It does take a certain period of time of just that, the overused expression when it comes to crypto adoption. And if anything, when once more that kicks in and some people can see it for themselves, it does become a lot of word of mouth and so on, and the word will get around that this can be a real great use case, because it provides just what the benefit. And if other companies and organizations can realize the benefit, then more and more that adoption will happen. All right, Mr. No Face is in the house. Everybody welcome him. Cool Cat states JP Morgan created XDC. Huh, I didn't realize that. All right, Cool Cat Crypto, or at least there's a lot of suggest that they did. Okay, I was gonna say. And last but not least, Brian Dow, wouldn't doubt it at all. Cool Cat. All right, let me see here. I think I might have a little bit more I want to share with you guys. Give me just a moment. Yes, there's this particular one I wanted to share with you guys. It is a short little video clip. And if anything, we're going to show that just for a brief moment. All right, so this comes from at Truth Crumbs. Some of this you may see kind of controversial and so on, or conspiracy related and whatnot. So, take it, with a grain of salt, or maybe a whole pound of it. It's up to you. But whatever the case be, I do like the message behind what they're saying here. So it says February 2022. Listen to February 2022, right? Like with Larry, it says, at Ripple is going to be a household name. Could Larry be right? I'm going to ride with it. Why not? You're literally seeing it right here. All right, so it says, quote, the banksters sued Ripple in order to hold them back by time in order to develop their own Ripple/XRP knockoff, but they failed. This is about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and of course, we'll come right back.
And there was another frivolous lawsuit of Ripple Labs by the U.S. government. It's, David, just to slow them down.
They're just kicking the can down the road. They're just slowing the pace.
Because the banksters are not ready. And
I'm
going to make a bold comment, and it's just in my own vernacular. The banksters are good at fraud and murder. They're not good at software engineering.
Yeah.
Okay. There are lots of precedents. Like Neil Keenan was murdered and replaced. He was all about the old bonds, the gold-backed bonds. They murdered people left and right. They actually murdered somebody, a source of mine. They murdered a close friend of his in Europe, and it really shook up my friend. The banksters sued XRP and Ripple Labs in order to buy time, not so much to hold them back as to, well, it's two motives. One, to hold back the development of the Ripple Labs, but it didn't work because they're still working. And the other motive is to buy time in order for the banksters to develop something in a similar manner with the intellectual property so that they can match Ripple and say, we've got our own Ripple. We don't need your Ripple, but they failed. And now they're saying, we need your Ripple. We're going to make a deal with you. We're going to have a timetable. We're going to have a schedule. It's going to be 18 to 24 months. We've got a span of time, and it is our accord. It's proof that the banksters failed in developing a similar system to XRP, and the same thing happened with Reggie Middleton. They failed in developing the building blocks for the digital financial structures that include banks and bond markets and stock market. It's the whole works.
So in the sense, their fate is sealed.
Their fate is sealed, and they bought in to the digital system.
Yeah. Pretty interesting, to say the least. So,
And there was
it's nice to get a different perspective and so on. But if anything, I thought I would share with you guys because I know you appreciate some of these particular clips and so on. A little bit more before we get into it. And of course, it's in regards to some of these other topics. But if anything, I'm going to kick it back in the comments just for a brief moment. And let's see here. Brian Dowie, mass adoption will be huge when we get regulations, says 100%. Yep. That's the way I personally look at it. Mr. No Face, I'm constantly adjusting my follow list to focus in on specific types of content. Curious on why Ripple don't have your follow, especially as CTN gives it a good amount of coverage. I appreciate that. I really, really do. My thing is it gets to the point where they're too huge, and I mean, we're too small. And that's the bottom line. It's nothing, against that and so on. I mean, I've had moments even before I joined up with Larry here at CTN, like for instance, all the coverage I did for Clearpool and so on. But even Clearpool is not a drop in the bucket compared to the likes of, Ripple's XRP, especially when it comes to market cap and so on. I mean, literally, even with the market conditions that we have right now, I'm looking at, for instance, Ripple as we speak, and it's still top 10, and it's sitting at number 7. And a while back, it was like number 6, right? Remember when it was ahead of, I believe it was ahead of Binance's USD, temporarily speaking. I just think that's one of the main cases here that I want to bring up to you guys. Another thing I'm going to show to you just here for a second, that is on Twitter. So here's another thing I want to show you. Give me just a second to do so. And I do like that you brought that up. So for instance, you go to their official Twitter, 2.6 million followers, right? And one of the main things I do, I don't know if you guys necessarily do this, and that's beyond the point, but one of the things I do is I go to this section, not here where everything is on the main page. I mean, sometimes I do, obviously, for content. But another thing I'll do is I'll look to see if they have these little things to catch the attention of the community. And what I mean by that is, especially for those of us like myself who use Twitter on a regular basis, so there's certain ways to tag things that are community driven, and you don't really see that from the likes of Ripple. And the one key reason I'm going to state this, and I stated it before, they're not for the retail guy and so on. So if they're not for the retail investor, just hear me out. So for instance, Brad Garlinghouse has made it clear as day their focus was never from a retail point of view. So when you use that type of language, if you will, it really, really applies to everything. So here's one perfect example. On every other, I should say every other, but like, let's face it, like on projects or maybe like say, I don't know, top 25, maybe top 50, especially other ones that were like maybe top 100. Like for instance, XDC, if I went and typed in right here at the top, and I typed in, for instance, $XDC, it will highlight a bunch of community driven posts of all these people, like this guy, right? We cover him, Joshua Rimsberg. He even followed me back, which was super cool. He's got a lot, 331,000 followers and so on, but like he's really active in the community, right? And so for instance, people can see straight from here, like if I made a post about, or a video live stream talking about XDC, right? And I've seen it before, all right? And I'm not saying that if I type in, for instance, hashtag XRP, it's not the same way. I mean, it is similar, but my point I'm trying to make is you're talking about getting the attention of, like, for instance, the Ripple official. And that's the whole thing, I mean, I guess I could give him a follow. I mean, that helps as well. But 2.6 million followers, and then there's the likes of me, who has 1,095. I think all those things play into the factor of the algorithm. Now, maybe things, of course, will change with the likes of Elon Musk being around, and I will give him a shout. I did basically earlier, this one right here, I'll show you. I know we're kind of a little bit off topic, but there's not a lot of people here anyway. Yeah, look at Selmo rocking it out. That's an awesome picture of him. But anyway, where is it? Earlier, another great picture of Selmo's family. Anyway, and here it is right here. So it states, I saw this post or tweet, I should say. I gotta stop saying post. I come from the old school of like gaming forums, right? You post on the forum. So it says, from Elon Musk on the 21st of November. Let's see what happens when Twitter offers good video with higher compensation for creators. Creators like myself, creators like Larry, creators like some of the other people we're networked with, and so on. And then, of course, I just simply put, thank you, Elon, and tagged, Crypto Talk Now. I don't know if Elon Musk is really going to see that or have time for it. Probably not. Think about this. I mean, he's the head guy of freaking Twitter, 118 million followers. But that's also the perspective I'm looking at it from. I'm too small of a fish for too big of a fish. I mean, he's not even a fish at this point. I mean, a whale to even, I'm just a little speck in the ocean. How do I get the attention of somebody like that? How do I get the attention of somebody like from Ripple and so on? But I mean, I do appreciate what you're mentioning and so on. It's just, I think that's one of the main problems. I mean, for one, when you go to tweets and replies here, right, you don't see anything tagged. You don't see like a $ Ripple or $ XRP or hashtag XRP. You don't see any of that. Even going a little bit further now, I'm just trying to give you guys some examples. Like you see a hashtag Tron, but again, that's going to tag the Tron community. But when it comes to Ripple, again, maybe if I do hashtag Ripple Swell, but that's only going to tag that specific thing. And I'm not trying to get the attention of that specific one. I'm trying to get the attention of like the Ripple community and so on. See what I'm saying? So it does have a big factor into it. You don't necessarily see that. And just to give you another example, what I'm talking about, if I was to type in a hashtag XRP right here, and of course I do this quite a few times, all you're going to see is the community driven things. Again, like the retail investor, right? Like Mr. Whale, hashtag XRP. Boom, that's going to show up if I type that in. Some of these other ones, right? But as you know, none of it is going to come from the official Ripple, right? It's just not. So my point is, that's obviously an issue. Hold on. Sorry about that. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. I kind of got interrupted there for a moment, but it's okay. So yeah, it's just, those are particular examples in regards to all that. I mean, it's just, you're not going to get anything from the official Ripple when it's tagged, because they don't have that community feature, and I wish they did. That's all I'm saying. So, but thank you for bringing that to our attention and bring that up. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's just they're too big, All right, Brian Dowie, SEC lawsuit was designed to give the big banks time to create a better system, but they couldn't. The banksters tried coding for like 5 minutes and then decided, F it, let's just use XRP. Yeah, that's a good point. Or how about this? F it, let's just use Quant because it only has 3 lines of code. Yeah. All right. Cool Cat Crypto asked Elon how he likes BSV so far. I got the nerd emoji. Thank you for that. Elon's going to use XRP for Twitter payments. I think so. And if anything, he's going to try to, the rumor about Doge, whether he does or not is beyond the point, but it'd be cool if he did. All right, Mr. No Face. I meant as to why you don't follow. Oh, okay. Thought it would be a speedy source of staying up to date with them. Guess the news shows every time else anyway. Well, that's my thing. I mean, I like a lot of the community-based stuff because if anything, I do kind of, bring you guys, for instance, like I'll do, this right here, right? Like what you saw earlier, this particular one, right? So this is obviously official, but I mean, that's easy for me to find. Like I don't need to necessarily be following them to get that. Just simply type it in. But, it's a good point. I mean, I could technically do that. Anyway. Elon likes BSV. Cool Cat Crypto. I think Stellar would be better for Twitter if he went that way. XLM, yeah. Mr. No Face. Other than CTN, who do you find gives the most up-to-minute content, Twitter / YouTube or otherwise? When it comes to, are you just saying specifically when it comes to like the likes of XRP? and the ISOs and stuff like that? Is that the question you're asking? Because I mean, there are quite a few of those guys. I mean, there's Crypto Lulu. I know you follow him. There's Crypto Hulk. There's oh man, shoot, there's quite a few guys. I mean, I'm just kind of drawing a blank as we speak because I'm kind of on the moment, but that and I kind of got distracted. But yeah, I mean, there is quite a few. So, all right, Mr. No Face at Cool Cat Crypto. Oh. All right. Well, guys, I think I'll go ahead and save some of the XDC info to tomorrow because I know that we're going about a minute, hour and 10. If anything, I'll save those particular links and so on. Mr. No Face. Overall, I like breaking news stories and the dirty buried goods. Lol. Yeah, I think we all do. Crypto Hulk has good content. Yeah, he's very passionate about what he talks about with his community and so on. And he's been doing really awesome. I mean, like on his live streams, I mean, he gets I've seen like as much as like 500 people on his live stream, if not more, and so on. So I mean, he always provides good content, and a lot of times like he does deep dives, and if anything, he's on the fly. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't necessarily have to like just bring up an article. Like he'll point some things out from like USA Today and whatnot, but he has his own unique way of bringing content and so on. And you know, hats off to him for doing what he's doing. And he is built like a Hulk. So, all right. Crypto Hulk has good info, but that guy seems nuts. I guess that's some of the criticism. I mean, technically speaking, I mean, I guess that's where it is sometimes. I mean, you know, people can even say that about Rich of Common Sense Crypto, and he has basically mentioned, you know, some people call him a conspiracy theorist and so on, but his attitude is like, all right, call me that. I'm just trying to, you know, save people money, expose the truth, or whatever you want to call it. But a lot of it does seem kind of controversial or conspiracy theorist related and whatnot. Linois in the house. He says, when is XRP going to take off? Well, I think if anything, it will especially take off if the SEC lawsuit ends a minimum. And this is not just me stating this, a minimum of $10. I think that's the first stepping stone. But as far as it being specific, it's definitely going to be March. If you're going to really narrow it down, I would say March because of the ISO 222 mandates and so on. If that gets delayed again, then maybe we have even that much more of a delayed reaction. But if I have to narrow it down to answer your question, I'm going to say March of 2023. All right. Mr. No Face. I mean, originally it was supposed to happen in this month, November or so on, but again, everything got delayed. Cool Cat is in the house saying hello to Linois, or actually saying to No Face. I'm sorry. Brian Dowie. He has good info, but kicks out everyone that is not a paid member after half an hour. I didn't know that. Did not know that. Wow. Well, he's trying to, I guess, incentivize people to pay. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I get it. I mean, you know, even what we do here at CTN, it's a grind. It's an absolute grind. You know, like sometimes I think of like some of the content that I put out before in the past. I'm like, oh man, I spoke very passionately on this recorded and so on. And then like it was an XRP video a while back, right? This is what kind of discouraged me, thinking that, you know, XRP was kind of saturated market. And I said to myself, oh man, you know, that one only got like 40 views. Imagine trying to, I think it's something like I spent like 3 hours or something, you know, researching a particular topic and then editing the video and then all this, and you know, even making a thumbnail. It's time consuming. A lot of times people think just whip up a thumbnail in 5 minutes. Not necessarily the case. You want to get one that has like some flair to it and so on. Add it all up just to get 40 views. When that happens, you just say to yourself, look, man, try not to focus on the negative. Just keep grinding away and you'll get there. And so that's just, it's what comes with the territory. Anyway. But yeah, I didn't know that. Thanks for reporting that. Cool Cat Crypto. Yeah, I hate that. Can't comment in his lives unless you join up. Linois, very nice, Max. Thanks for the information. Well, no problem. Be on the lookout, guys, of course, for more quant videos. We're literally almost doing them like just about every day on the recorded. We're trying to get that following in this bear market and so on, because, you know, let's face it. I mean, there's some guys out there who literally built their whole channel on certain particular ones and so on. So the consistent thing that I've noticed is you have to have the recorded and you have to have the live for both of the things can be continued recommended. I see the numbers right now, 9 people as we speak. I could have the attitude, you know what, I'm going to quit, but I'm not going to quit. You know why? I love talking about crypto. You know, even if I went like a few days and just taking a day off and so on, my attitude is still like, you know what, I at least need to make some recorded or something. I just, generally speaking, I love to talk about crypto. It's something I'm very passionate about and so on. And if anything, I like, even if you know, when I do teaching and so on, even at school, you know, I'm thinking at the back of my head, you know, on my spare time is like, I'm gonna see what's going on with the market, you know, on my lunch break or something like that. Or hey, this is something I could talk about, you know, for quant or XRP or so on, or here's some content I could share with our community tonight and so on. So yeah, numbers are down and so on, but you know what? This is still the bear market, and our numbers are probably going to get continue. I'll say this: to probably be slashed even that much more if we have even more doom and gloom, and this market tanks down to like say 780 billion market cap, or let's say even went down to the 600s. Yeah, you better believe our numbers would even still reflect that. So, you know, but how about this? I'm going to show you guys here's some nice encouraging info before we leave. All right, so I'm just going to show you guys this right here. All right, we are now at 7,950 subscribers. We only need 50 more subscribers and we get up to 8,000. Now I want to state this: before I joined up with the likes of Larry, he of course did, I mean, look at this. I'm gonna click on popular. Okay, look at all the Saitama videos he did. Now, again, I'm not trying to, you know, pump Saitama or anything like that, right? But he stopped covering Saitama, and rightfully so, right? But his channel, before he joined up with him, was built on Saitama. He deserves a lot of credit for what he built during that time, right? Because, you know, let's face it, a lot of people were talking about Saitama, but he also realized that he probably shouldn't talk about Saitama anymore. And as a result, we've had a shift. So from the time I, of course, joined up with him to present, I think we're at roughly 1,300, maybe 1,400 subs. Okay. So if anything, you know, I did more research and I found out, for instance, with the YouTube algorithm, if you stop talking about a certain subject that you were built on, hence Saitama, it will no longer recommend your channel to the masses. Kind of like me and Mike the Investor. I love Mike the Investor. I think he's a great content creator. But guess what? I haven't watched some of his Ethereum Classic videos for quite some time. So is YouTube going to recommend Mike the Investor's content at the top? Where so when I go to click on cryptocurrency, like here's an example, right? I'm just going to show you guys. I know we're wrapping things up, but this is how this algorithm thing basically works. So, you know, like there's this gaming section and I'm like, oh man, it's still not showing it. So, you know, for instance, I could click on this and I click on here. And then if I go back to the home page, click on YouTube. Hold on. Still doesn't really show cryptocurrency, but there's this section at the top that says cryptocurrency. And there's all these recommendations I see right here, right? Like this girl I follow, because I mean, let's face it, she's beautiful and she plays like Metallica and AC/DC, and she's just like amazing. I would highly recommend following. But my point is, it sees some of my interest, and if anything, it's going to give me the recommendation. It doesn't give me the recommendation, for instance, of Mike the Investor anymore. Why? Because I haven't watched. He hasn't put out any coverage for Ethereum Classic in quite some time. And even if he did, if I don't click on his channel and watch it, then it doesn't know to recommend it to me. My point is this. I found out more research, and that is, for instance, if you are a content creator and you don't cover the likes of like what you're built upon, hence Saitama, right? And you don't do it for 90 days, it stops recommending it. Now, during that period of time, when I first joined up with them and so on, we were killing it. Like we had 150, 200 people watching and so on. And again, still, it wasn't this crazy bear market as we're in right now. Then, so that was roughly, I joined them April 18th. From April 18th, May 18th, June 18th. You may have the thing like, well, then you guys should have, your numbers should have fell off during that time. Well, guess what? There's this guy right here. Let me show you. Well, I can't really pull it up at the moment. Maybe I can. But anyway, it's Glenn of GH Crypto. I don't know if anybody remembers when he just kind of joined up with us just briefly and so on. But I guess you could say it kind of saved us at the time being, because then right before that deadline of the 90 days, it kicked into the thing with the algorithm. There he is. Saitama recent AMA. Now that was 4 months ago. But for about a process of 2 or 3 weeks, it kicked that in. So if anything, kind of like reset it, if you will. It prolonged the delay of some of our numbers and so on. But it's just, that's how it is. And then from here, of course, we went with other ones, just to give you guys kind of an idea. Because again, I realize we're kind of wrapping things up there. I don't even know if there's anybody here right now as we speak. But for those who are interested in seeing what's going on with this, just kind of give you an idea. So, Larry did very well 10 months ago, 11,000 views as Saitama. I've never been able to accomplish that here at CTN, but on my own, I've been able to cover like Metopolis, and that's gotten like 3,600 views and so on. But I never touched what Larry was able to do with like the likes of Kishu and Saitama and so on. Here's this one 5 months ago, 3,500 views, but that's him and I together. But again, that was right during the time where Luna Classic, that was a hot thing. So as a result, the views basically show that. But also keep in mind, during this time, his channel, or our channel, is still technically being recommended for Saitama. And that is the main key takeaway I want people to understand. As soon as you stop covering one specific subject that you were focused on, you do that for 90 days straight, the algorithm will not recommend your channel, because it looks at that was what the main basis you're on. Now we have a different approach. And that different approach basically shows things that you're about to see right here. Actually, I'll just sort it a different way. I'm sorry. And that is like what you see right here, for instance. Doesn't seem like much, but it's a start for a channel our size, because in reality, if you don't count Saitama, we're basically a channel of about 1,400 subs. If you don't count Saitama, about 1,400 subs. And if that's the case, you compare us to, for instance, other channels, and you have, for instance, Crypto Smith, Shaka, some of these other guys, right? Legal Alien and so on, and they're about roughly in that same type of range. So I just wanted to, of course, point some of that out. But yeah, for, breaking into like XRP, that's going to take time to us to build that up. But I'm glad that it's happening. Quant, obviously, like I feel like that's the real one that we are definitely like showing up in. I mean, the last Quant video 22 hours ago, 415 views. It's got, I clicked on the analytics for the subscribers, definitely getting that. This one right here, 1,100. That was I guess you could say my biggest hit so far for Quant. There's, this 572 views. I've had other ones in the past. So like I've done analytics, and I showed basically our team that we have. We stand out when it comes to Luna Classic, believe it or not, Quant, XDC, even Ethereum Classic, and I think the other one was Bone. So as a result, we should put some focus on those particular ones. And of course, I'm going to cover what's trending and whatnot, but I just want to give you guys a broader perspective of how things go when it comes to this whole algorithm thing and the whole thing of like what we cover here at CTN, and so on. Kind of off kilter of what we normally talk about here at CTN, but you're part of the community, and I cannot thank you guys enough for continuously supporting us here in the good times and also the bad. So I'm going to go ahead and read a few more comments, and then from there, I'm probably going to go ahead and end the show. Hold on a second. See where I'm at. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for being here. XXI Gaming, thank you for all the info, Max. I'm just here in the background watching. All right. Well, thank you, XXI. Mr. No Face, always a great show. CTN, the best blend of crypto education and entertainment. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. It makes it that much more worthwhile for what we do and why we do it. Cool Cat Crypto, I will pick up big time when the bull market starts. That's why I keep telling myself, and I tell Larry the same thing, and he's on board on it as well. And that is, we keep telling each other, look, we never had this channel in a bull market. I mean, you and me together when we teamed up since April 18th. So I've been with Larry for a little over, November 18th would have been 7 months. So I've been with him for a little over 7 months. But again, during that whole time, still bear market. So let's see how the bull market reacts. All right. Brian Dow, I appreciate everything you do, Max. Great job, bro. Thank you so much. It's nice to be appreciated. And I do appreciate you guys being here. If I didn't appreciate you guys, I would have saw the numbers and just like, to heck with this. I ain't doing no show. Only 10 people here, only 5 people here. To heck with this. Nah, it's not about that. What it's about is still doing one, recognizing those who are here, the faithful people and so on. And it's crypto, this show in itself is a game of patience. And as you guys know, like Cool Cat just said right here, look at this as practice, and if anything, look at it as being a game of patience. All right, Linwa, we like hearing it from you, Max. Thank you very much. Mr. No Face, hashtag CTN, the projects that are building in the bear will boom with the bull run at CTN. Yeah, even Selmo pointed out, he's just like, he doesn't really know of a lot of influencers, content creators that basically do, let's face it, close to daily quant videos and so on. My attitude is, I fully believe in quant, and I think it's a great one. Heck, I call it, the Bitcoin, but with utility, if you will. I think it's going to be greater than Bitcoin. And with that said, I mean, think of what content creators maybe from years and years ago had covered Bitcoin and where they're at now, if they're still around and so on. You get where I'm going with this. The likes of Larry. All right, XXI Gaming, thumbnails be fire too. Well, thank you. I've been trying to make those a little bit better. Larry is totally in the wolf pack. I'm technically part of the wolf pack. I never sold my Saitama. I had I think it was close to $4,000 into Saitama and so on. Should have sold basically before the whole Vegas event, right? Yeah, a lot of people should have. But I mean, that doesn't mean I want to cover the likes of Saitama, because I don't at this point believe in it anymore. But in a bull market, when there's a lot of other things that are all-time highs and so on, I do see some of the crumbs, if you will, going towards the way of Saitama. And if I turn any profit at all, especially after gas fees and all that, I'm going to get the heck out of it. I'm not going to save a moon bag. All right. There you go. All right. Eddie T says, what's up? Smash that like button. Thanks for joining us, Eddie T. Even though we're about to wrap up, it's okay. He's got the Volt out. And Brian Dowie. But yes, thank you for being with us, Eddie T. Max with the crypto knowledge and Larry with the jokes. That's why I started watching the CTN. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I do jokes as well. As you guys know, I do impersonations. Maybe we need to get back a little bit to some of that stuff. Just start putting Saitama back in the thumbnail. Don't want to go that route. No, don't want to talk about. I mean, even though that'd be nice, it's just not worth it. It's like, at this point, it's just not. Like, I then see what happens. All right, Mr. No Face, love the insight. Thanks again, Max. You're very welcome. And thanks again for everybody who was here tonight. Be on the lookout for more of that recorded content, especially with the likes of Quant and so on. And now XRP. And sometimes it might be highlights from the show that we cover and whatnot. But if anything, it's really cool to see that we've been getting some decent amount of subscribers for XRP, XDC, Quant especially, and I haven't turned my back on, of course, on Luna Classic and whatnot, but we even cover Bone and so on. But yeah, be on the lookout for those particular ones, especially. Thanks again for joining us here tonight. You guys all have a good night, and we'll see you on the next one tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And by the way, there will be Thanksgiving coverage with Larry at the same time slot of what I mentioned. Take it easy, everybody. Have a great night.